The galaxy was quiet when the first human fleet arrived. No alarms, no warnings, only the sudden flash of light as ships came out of dark space. They were not small trading vessels, not explorers with weak engines, but massive warships shining like steel giants. Their hulls glowed with strange markings, human flags waving proudly on their sides. For the Council of Species, it was the first time seeing humans travel this far. Many thought it was a good sign, a chance for peace, a chance for new trade and friendship. After all, humans smiled, waved their hands, and spoke with kind voices. They promised no harm. They said they came only to share. But behind those smiles, the silence of their fleet was louder than any weapon. On the homeworld of the Galactic Council, alien leaders gathered in a wide chamber filled with glowing crystals. They stared at the first recordings of the human ships. 1,000 eyes from 1,000 worlds looked at the same scene. Some leaders were excited. They believed this was history. Others were afraid. The human ships looked too strong, too advanced for a species that claimed to love peace. Still, when the humans broadcasted their first message, it was simple and calm. We come as friends. We bring peace. We wish to learn from you, and you may learn from us. The words were gentle, almost too gentle. At first, the galaxy wanted to believe. For centuries, wars had torn star systems apart. Empires had risen and fallen, leaving scars on hundreds of worlds. The Council wanted unity. They wanted to hope. And so, they welcomed humanity with open arms. Starports were prepared. Ceremonies were arranged. Songs were sung in 1,000 languages to honor the visitors from Earth. The aliens whispered to one another, "Perhaps this is the end of war. Perhaps these humans are different." They did not see the heavy cannons hidden behind human armor. They did not notice the movement of drones slipping away into deep space. They only saw the smiles. The first human ships released tiny machines, small drones that flew like silver insects. When asked, the humans laughed softly. "They are only mapping drones," they said. "They will scan your worlds so we may understand them better." The Council agreed, thinking it was harmless. But the drones went deeper than anyone expected. They scanned military outposts, hidden tunnels, secret vaults, and even coded transmissions. They collected everything, quietly and silently. Some alien commanders grew suspicious. "No explorers need that much detail," they muttered. But their voices were drowned by louder ones who wanted peace at any cost. One alien general stood in the chamber, his skin dark and scarred from past battles. He stared at the images of human fleets and shook his head. "This is not peace," he whispered to himself. "This is preparation." But no one listened. The majority wanted trade, new allies, and new stories. They wanted to believe in the soft words of humans. And the humans, with their calm faces and patient tone, gave the galaxy exactly what it wanted, the illusion of hope. As days passed, more human ships arrived. They were always polite, always careful with their words. They asked questions about alien culture, about history, about technology. They gifted small items, music, art, and harmless trinkets from Earth. But every time they gave a gift, they took something in return. They learned the weak points of alien fleets, the politics of the Council, and the rivalries between species. Piece by piece, humanity built a map not only of the galaxy's stars but of its secrets. The galaxy thought humans were slow learners. In truth, humans were fast hunters. On one quiet night, an alien captain watched from his station window as a human battleship floated past. The ship was silent, lights dimmed, engines humming like a heartbeat. It looked asleep, but the captain could feel something inside it, power waiting to strike. He whispered to his crew, "Do not trust their smiles. A beast that smiles is still a beast." His warning was recorded, but it never reached the council floor. Someone, somewhere, erased it before it spread too far. The humans kept smiling. They shook hands, they bowed, they made promises of friendship. Yet their warships never powered down, not even once. They stayed ready, as if waiting for a signal. And slowly, whispers spread among the galaxy's border worlds. Patrols began to vanish. Stations went silent after reporting human drones passing by. Some said it was just accidents. Some said it was space storms. But those who lived near the humans knew better. They locked their doors and prayed their worlds would not be next. By the time the Council began to question humanity's true purpose, it was already too late. Humans had arrived in force. Their fleets were positioned near key routes, their colonies were already under construction, and their weapons pointed silently at alien skies. The galaxy thought it had gained friends. In truth, it had welcomed hunters. The arrival of humanity was no accident. It was no simple journey of peace. It was the first move in a plan so large that no alien mind could see the end. Humanity had crossed the stars not to share, but to claim. And though the galaxy did not yet realize it, their mistake was already carved in stone. Believing humans came in peace was the first step to their own downfall. The day humanity walked into the chamber of the Galactic Council, every eye was fixed on them. The great hall was vast, with walls of crystal that glowed with soft light. Thousands of alien leaders filled the seats, each from a different world, each curious about the new species that had arrived. When the human delegation entered, they did not walk with arrogance, nor with fear. They moved calmly, smiling as if they belonged there from the beginning. Their clothes were plain but neat, and their leader carried no weapon, only a simple book that he placed gently on the table before him. The council expected nervousness, but the humans showed none. They looked around as if measuring every detail, as if every word and every gesture was already planned. The leader of the council rose and spoke, his voice booming across the hall. "You come from a distant star, unknown to us until now. Tell us why you have entered our galaxy." The human leader bowed his head slightly, then lifted his eyes with a calm expression. His voice was steady, almost warm. "We come in peace. We seek no conquest, no empire. We bring knowledge, trade, and friendship. We wish to share what we have and learn from what you know. Humanity desires only peace." His words echoed, soft but powerful, and many alien leaders exchanged hopeful glances. It sounded exactly like what they wanted to hear. The chamber filled with quiet whispers, voices repeating the word peace again and again. Some believed instantly, others hesitated. But the human leader continued, speaking with skill that seemed almost too perfect. He told stories of Earth's beauty, of oceans and mountains, of music and art, of struggles that shaped them into a species that valued unity. He described a humanity that had ended its own wars, destroyed hunger, and built a world where every voice mattered. It was a story painted in light, a story designed to inspire trust. Yet those who listened carefully noticed what was missing. The human leader never spoke of their weapons, never mentioned their fleet's strength, never explained why so many warships had arrived if their only wish was peace. Still, the council wanted to believe. For centuries, the galaxy had been broken by conflict. Old rivalries between species still burned, and fear of betrayal had shaped every law. But now, here stood humans with gentle words, offering hope. The council gave them a seat, a place among the stars, and the chamber erupted in cheers. Across the galaxy, news spread quickly. Humanity was welcomed, humanity was trusted, humanity was now part of the great circle of worlds. On alien streets, people celebrated. Traders dreamed of new goods. Scholars dreamed of new knowledge. Children painted the human flag alongside their own. It felt like a new age was beginning. But not everyone celebrated. In the shadows of the council hall, some alien generals remained cold. They looked at the human faces and saw something different, something hidden behind the smiles. One general whispered to another, "Their ships are too many. No peaceful fleet needs such numbers." Another said quietly, "Their weapons are active even now. Do you not see the energy signatures? They are armed, always armed." Yet when they raised these concerns in the council, they were silenced. The majority wanted peace, and peace required trust. Suspicion, they said, would only lead to war. The generals left the chamber in silence, but their eyes carried a warning no one wished to hear. That same night, in orbit above the council world, human ships floated like sleeping giants. Their lights glowed softly, their cannons hidden beneath layers of armor. To most aliens, they looked calm and harmless. But one patrol officer noticed something strange. Every time alien ships scanned the humans, the readings changed, as if the humans were hiding their true power. It was too perfect, too controlled. The officer filed a report, but it vanished in the archives, buried before it could reach higher command. Someone or something was making sure no fear spread too early. Inside the council halls, humans mingled with alien diplomats. They laughed, they shared food, they exchanged gifts. They gave music that touched the hearts of many. They offered medicines that healed diseases some species had fought for centuries. Every gift made the council lean closer in trust. Yet in the shadows of their ships, drones continued to spread. They mapped military bases, transport routes, and weak points in planetary defenses. When questioned, humans simply said, "We are learning, so we may understand you better." Their smiles never faded, and their tone never cracked. The galaxy had fallen under a spell. Humanity had become the guest everyone wanted to trust. They were seen as gentle newcomers, harmless travelers carrying the dream of peace. But behind every word was strategy, and behind every smile was calculation. The council did not see it yet, but the trap had already closed around them. They had welcomed the wolf into their halls, dressed in the clothing of a lamb. And as the session of the council ended, the human leader bowed once more. His final words echoed across the chamber, "We thank you for your trust. Together, we will build a brighter future." The chamber erupted in applause, the sound of hope filling the air. But in the silence that followed, a few alien leaders felt a chill crawl across their skin. They looked into the calm human eyes and saw something they could not explain. It was not peace. It was patience. A hunter waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The galaxy celebrated the arrival of humans for weeks. Trade talks began, cultural exchanges were planned, and fleets opened their ports to human guests. Everywhere, people spoke of peace. But beneath the shining surface of celebration, shadows began to grow. A few commanders, scientists, and spies looked closer and started asking questions. Why were the human ships still fully armed? Why did their drones scan military zones instead of trade routes? And why did the humans always smile the same way, never nervous, never uncertain, as if they knew more than they should? One alien spy, a skilled infiltrator from the HFY species, decided to seek answers. Her people were experts at moving unseen, their skin able to shift color to match the walls. She entered the human docking bay one night, slipping past guards and cameras. At first, she saw nothing unusual. The ship's outer decks were filled with art, music, and simple technology that matched the human story of peace. But as she went deeper, the truth began to show. Entire sections of the ship were locked behind sealed doors, doors that hummed with hidden energy fields. She bypassed one of them with her tools, and what she found froze her heart. Inside the chamber were weapons unlike anything the galaxy had seen. Cannons large enough to split a planet's crust. Swarms of drones stored in racks, waiting to be released. And worst of all, rows of cryopods filled with soldiers, sleeping but ready. Their faces were calm, but their bodies were armored, each one trained for war. The spy realized in horror that the humans had not come with a handful of diplomats. They had brought an army. She recorded what she saw, her hands shaking as she activated her hidden scanner. But the humans were not careless. The moment she finished her scan, a soft voice spoke behind her. "Curious, aren't you?" She spun around, her skin flashing with alarm colors. A human officer stood in the doorway, his face calm, his eyes cold. He did not draw a weapon. He did not need to. The walls themselves hummed, locking her inside. The officer smiled faintly. "You should not be here. Curiosity can be dangerous." The spy tried to flee, but the chamber filled with light, and she was gone. The next morning, her people waited for her report. But no report came. Her signal had vanished, her trail erased as if she had never left. The HFY leaders grew suspicious, but when they brought the matter before the council, no one listened. The human ambassador stood calmly and said, "Perhaps she suffered an accident. Space is dangerous. We mourn her loss with you." His tone was perfect, filled with sympathy, yet his eyes remained cold. Still, whispers spread. Other spies tried to follow her path, but never returned. Captains began to notice that patrols near human fleets went silent. The council dismissed the reports as coincidence. "Do not ruin peace with fear," they said. But the doubts continued to grow in the hearts of those who had seen war before. They knew the signs. They recognized the pattern. Humanity was too prepared, too careful, too quiet. One alien general, old and scarred, stood in his war room staring at the positions of the human fleets. His aides asked him why he looked so grim. He pointed to the map. "Do you see? Their fleets are placed near every major trade route, every core world, every fuel station. They call it exploration. I call it occupation." His voice carried the weight of truth, but when he sent his warning to the council, it was buried under layers of politics. Most leaders wanted to believe in peace. They wanted to believe the human story. They did not want to face the cost of preparing for war again. Meanwhile, humanity continued its patient game. Their diplomats gave gifts. Their traders shared medicines and tools. Their artists sang songs that brought tears to alien eyes. Yet with every smile, their ships stayed armed, their weapons ready. When asked to power down, they simply said, "It is only for safety. We mean no harm." And the galaxy accepted the excuse. But cracks in the illusion had begun to show. On the edge of the spiral arm, an entire alien station went silent after humans docked there. Official reports claimed it was a reactor accident. Survivors who managed to escape whispered a different story. They spoke of soldiers walking calmly through the halls, cutting down guards without a sound, taking control of the command systems, and leaving nothing behind. Their stories spread in secret channels, reaching the ears of those who still doubted. The galaxy was standing at a crossroads. To one side was the dream of peace that humans offered, shining and beautiful. To the other side was the dark truth that some had already seen: humanity was not here to share, but to claim. Those who believed in peace called the doubters paranoid. Those who believed in the doubt called the dreamers blind. And all the while, humanity kept smiling. Late one night, in a dark chamber of the council, a young alien aide spoke quietly to his mentor. "Do you trust them?" he asked. The elder paused, then shook his head slowly. "I trust what I see. And what I see is a knife, hidden behind a friendly hand." His words hung heavy in the air, but there was no one left to listen. The council still clung to hope, blind to the storm already building in the shadows. For months the humans played the part of peaceful visitors. They smiled in the council, shared gifts with diplomats, and walked through alien markets as if they were simply curious travelers. But behind the curtain, the first moves of their true plan had already begun. It started quietly, with a simple request. Humanity asked the council for permission to settle a few neutral planets. "We only wish to build colonies where our people may live," the human ambassador explained, his voice calm, his expression soft. "We will not interfere with anyone. We only need a place to call home." The council debated, but in the end they agreed. The humans had earned trust, or at least that was the illusion. And so, a handful of empty worlds were given to humanity. To most, it seemed harmless. Colonies were common. Many species had been granted similar rights before. But within weeks, reports began to spread. The human colonies did not look like homes. They looked like fortresses. Where other species built farms and villages, humans built walls and gun platforms. Where others raised schools and gardens, humans raised bunkers and barracks. Entire starports were turned into military bases, armed with weapons powerful enough to defend against fleets. At first, the council ignored the reports. They told themselves that humans were simply cautious, that their worlds were too new and too vulnerable. But those who had seen war before knew the truth. Humanity was not preparing to live. They were preparing to fight. Soon alien patrols began to disappear near the human colonies. A scout ship would report strange signals and then vanish. A small fleet sent to investigate would go silent without explanation. The council demanded answers. The human ambassador smiled and said, "We know nothing. Space is dangerous. Perhaps they met pirates." His tone was calm, his words believable, but his eyes were colder than the void. On one border world, an alien governor watched the construction of a human settlement from orbit. At first, it looked harmless, rows of housing, power stations, landing pads. But then heavy cannons appeared, hidden beneath camouflage. Then came orbital shields, stronger than anything the aliens had ever built for a colony. Finally, human warships began to dock there permanently, circling the planet like vultures guarding prey. The governor sent urgent warnings to the council, begging them to see the truth. His message was clear: this is not peace. This is invasion. But the council silenced him. They accused him of spreading fear, of trying to destroy the fragile trust they had built. The governor's messages stopped after that. Some said he was removed. Others whispered that the humans removed him themselves. The pattern grew clearer with every passing day. Humanity would ask for something small, something harmless. The council would give it. Then the humans would twist it into something dangerous. Step by step, they built a network of strongholds across the galaxy. Alien leaders still clapped their hands and cheered the dream of peace, but soldiers on the ground began to see the truth. They saw human ships scanning their defenses, human drones mapping their skies, human outposts slowly surrounding entire sectors. The first real shock came when an alien patrol discovered a human fleet practicing live fire drills in a restricted zone. When confronted, the humans responded with calm words. "It is only training," they explained. "We meant no harm." But the patrol ships never returned from that encounter. Their wreckage was later found floating in silence, burned and shattered. The council tried to bury the report, but whispers spread faster than lies. In private meetings, alien generals argued furiously with the diplomats. "They are building an army under your noses," the generals shouted. "Every day you let them expand, you make them stronger. Do you not see what is happening?" But the diplomats shook their heads. They had grown addicted to the dream of peace. "We cannot break trust now," they answered. "If we accuse them without proof, we will start the very war we fear." Meanwhile, the humans moved faster. Their colonies grew into fortresses. Their fleets began patrolling routes that did not belong to them. Their drones mapped entire planets, sometimes disappearing into alien territory for hours before returning. And their soldiers, once hidden in cryopods, now walked openly on the streets of their colonies, training in the daylight. To anyone with eyes, it was clear: humanity was preparing for something much larger than peace. One night, an alien scout managed to slip into the edge of a human colony. What he saw chilled him to his core. Humans were not only building weapons. They were building massive gates, structures that could pull entire fleets through dark space in seconds. With such gates, humans could move armies anywhere in the galaxy before anyone had time to respond. The scout fled with the information, desperate to warn the council. But before he reached safety, his ship was destroyed in a flash of light. The humans had been watching him the whole time. And so the first move of humanity's game was complete. The colonies were no longer colonies. They were strongholds, positioned perfectly across the galaxy. From there, humanity could strike in any direction, at any time. The council still told themselves it was harmless, but deep down, some leaders finally began to feel the weight of dread. They realized the truth too late. Humanity had not come to share. Humanity had come to claim. And their first step was already finished. The council chamber was filled with tension. For months, whispers of human deception had grown louder. Reports of missing patrols, silent stations, and colonies that looked more like fortresses could no longer be ignored. Finally, The council demanded that humanity explain itself. Ambassadors from 100 worlds gathered under the glowing crystal ceiling, their voices sharp, their faces uneasy. When the human delegation entered, silence fell. Their leader walked calmly, his face as unreadable as stone. He carried no weapon, only the same simple book he had placed on the table during his first appearance. He bowed slightly, then waited for the storm to begin. The leader of the council spoke first, his voice trembling with anger. "You came to us claiming peace. You asked for colonies and we gave them. But now those colonies are fortresses. Our fleets vanish near your borders. Our people whisper of war. Tell us, human, what is your true purpose here?" The chamber erupted with voices, questions thrown like daggers. The human leader raised his hand, and the room fell quiet. His smile was thin, his eyes cold. He spoke slowly, each word heavy as iron. "We came in peace, because you believed in peace. You gave us what we needed. You opened your doors. You built our bridge." For a moment, no one understood. Then the meaning sank in like poison. Gasps echoed across the hall. The council leader slammed his hand on the table. "You dare admit this? You tricked us." The human did not flinch. His calm voice carried across the chamber. "Tricked? No. We simply gave you what you wanted to see. You wanted hope. You wanted peace. And while you dreamed, we prepared." At that moment, the chamber shook. The walls trembled as explosions echoed outside. Alien guards rushed to the windows, their eyes widening in horror. Across the skies of the council world, human fleets had activated their weapons. Cannons glowed with deadly light, drones swarmed like silver insects, and fortresses on nearby planets came alive with fire. The humans had chosen their moment. The unmasking had begun. Panic spread in the chamber. Leaders shouted, guards drew weapons, but the human delegation did not move. They stood calmly, almost amused, as if everything was unfolding exactly as planned. One alien general tried to charge forward, but a hidden human soldier stepped out from the shadows and blocked him with ease. The realization struck hard: human soldiers had already infiltrated the council's capital. The invasion was not starting outside. It had already begun inside. On the surface of the planet, alien defense fleets scrambled to launch, but human ships struck with precision. Entire squadrons were destroyed before they left their docks. Orbital cannons turned toward the sky, only to be silenced in seconds. The humans had mapped every defense, every weak point, and now they struck with perfect accuracy. The council world, once thought untouchable, was falling in a single night. Inside the chamber, the human leader continued speaking, his voice calm even as chaos raged around him. "We did not come to destroy you. We came to rule you. There is a difference. Under us, there will be order. No more endless wars between your species. No more weak alliances that break at the first sign of fear. Humanity will give you unity, and you will give us obedience." His words were sharp, cold, and final. Alien leaders screamed in protest. Some shouted that they would resist, that the galaxy would never kneel. The human leader's smile grew wider, almost pitying. "Resist if you wish. But remember, you gave us everything we needed. You let us place our fleets at your heart. You let us study your weapons, your politics, your secrets. The first battle is already won. The rest will follow." Outside, the council city burned. Human dropships rained soldiers onto the streets. Towers crumbled under the fire of orbital cannons. Alien civilians fled in panic as human troops marched with perfect discipline, cutting down resistance with terrifying efficiency. The galaxy had never seen such speed, such precision, such cold patience unleashed all at once. In the chamber, one alien leader whispered in despair, "We welcomed them. We cheered for them. We trusted them." His voice broke as he stared at the human leader standing calmly among the ruins of hope. "And that was your mistake," the human replied softly. "You believed we came in peace. By dawn, the council's capital world was lost. Its defenses shattered, its leaders captured or executed, its skies filled with human warships. Across the galaxy, the news spread like fire. Some species prepared to resist, others prepared to surrender, but all understood the same truth: the mask had fallen. Humanity was no longer pretending. Their fleets no longer hid behind smiles. Their weapons no longer waited in silence. The hunter had revealed its claws. The unmasking was complete, and the galaxy would never forget the moment when hope turned to ash. Humanity had shown its true face, and it was not the face of peace. It was the face of conquest. The galaxy had never been so quiet. After the fall of the Council's capital, fear spread like fire. Entire worlds bent their knees to humanity without a single shot, hoping mercy would follow surrender. But mercy never came. Human fleets demanded tribute, demanded soldiers, demanded obedience. Those who refused were crushed in hours. Cities burned, skies turned red, and billions watched as the dream of peace shattered. Yet in the silence of despair, something new began to form. For the first time in history, the scattered species of the galaxy started to unite. Old enemies who had fought for centuries sat at the same table. Rival empires that once swore never to speak to one another now shared intelligence. The humans had become a threat so great that even hatred between species seemed smaller than the shadow of Earth's fleet. It began with whispers, secret meetings held in abandoned stations. Generals, spies, and leaders met far from human eyes, plotting in hushed voices. They called themselves the Resistance. Their goal was simple: to survive and then to fight. They had lost the Council, but they had not lost their will. Armies that once fought each other now merged into a single force. Weapons were traded, technology shared, strategies written. Slowly, a new alliance was born, not of trust, but of desperation. When the humans discovered the first signs of resistance, they reacted with cold precision. Fleets were sent to hunt down rebel cells, colonies accused of hiding resistance members were burned from orbit, and captured leaders were executed in front of their people. Humanity's message was clear: obedience or death. Yet instead of breaking, the resistance grew stronger. Every destroyed city became a symbol. Every martyr became a spark. The galaxy, once afraid to speak, now began to shout. The first real battle came at the edge of the Vega sector. A massive human fleet was ambushed by a combined armada of 5 species. The aliens fought with desperation, striking fast and hard, trying to overwhelm the humans before they could respond. For a moment, hope returned. Human ships burned in the void, explosions lighting up the stars. But the joy did not last. Humanity adapted with terrifying speed. Their fleets shifted formation, their weapons adjusted, and within hours the alien armada was shattered. Only a handful of ships escaped, limping back to warn the others. The battle was lost, but the resistance did not stop. They learned from every defeat, every mistake, every scar. Across the galaxy, smaller victories kept hope alive. Resistance fighters sabotaged human supply lines, destroyed isolated outposts, and spread messages of defiance. Humans began to hunt them ruthlessly, but the fire of rebellion was spreading faster than it could be crushed. On one world, alien civilians rose against human soldiers with nothing but stones and blades. They were slaughtered, but their bravery echoed through the stars. On another, a resistance cell hacked into human communications, broadcasting their crimes across occupied worlds. For the first time, billions saw the truth. The humans who had promised peace were nothing but conquerors wearing masks of steel. Inside their strongholds, human commanders remained calm. They did not panic. They studied every act of resistance, every strategy, every attack. To them, the rebellion was not a threat but a challenge, another problem to solve. Still, even they could not deny that the galaxy was changing. For the first time since their arrival, humanity faced an enemy united by something greater than fear. The resistance grew bolder. Rumors spread of a forbidden weapon, a device hidden in the archives of the oldest species, capable of tearing entire fleets apart. Desperate leaders whispered of using it, even if it meant breaking laws written thousands of years ago. Humanity knew of this plan before it even began. Their spies were everywhere, their eyes in every council, their ears in every fleet. When the resistance tried to gather the weapon, humans struck first, destroying the vault before it could be opened. Still, the attempt showed that the galaxy was willing to risk everything to stop them. In the middle of all this chaos, a single human commander stood above the rest. Cold, calculating, always one step ahead. He watched the galaxy resist and smiled faintly. "They think they are uniting," he said to his officers. "But their unity is fragile. We will break it piece by piece. We will make them turn on each other again." His words carried the cruel confidence of a predator who had never known defeat. Yet on the other side, in a hidden station carved into an asteroid, the leaders of the resistance made their vow. They knew they were weaker, slower, and less organized than the humans. But they had something humanity had underestimated: desperation and hope. One alien general rose, his voice carrying across the chamber. "They fooled us once with promises of peace. They fooled us twice with their calm words. But now the mask is gone. Now we see them for what they are. And if we must burn every world to stop them, then so be it." His words were met with a roar. For the first time, the galaxy stood together not in fear, but in defiance. The war had begun in silence, with handshakes and smiles. Now it burned openly, with fire and blood. Humanity had unmasked itself, and the galaxy had chosen to resist. The resistance was still weak, still fragile, but it was alive. And humanity, for the first time, would face not a council of dreamers but an army of fighters. The hunter had revealed its claws, but the prey had found its teeth. The war had burned across the stars, leaving broken fleets and ruined worlds in its path. The resistance had fought bravely, but bravery alone could not match the cold power of humanity. Bit by bit, sector by sector, the humans crushed the united forces of the galaxy. Every battle ended the same way, with alien fleets scattered and human warships standing unshaken. By the time the last resistance stronghold fell, the galaxy was silent again. But this silence was not born from peace. It was born from defeat. In the ruins of the old council chamber, the leaders of the surviving species were forced to gather. The once great hall, where voices of hundreds of civilizations had echoed, was now under human guard. Soldiers in black armor lined the walls, their rifles ready, their eyes cold. The surviving alien leaders sat in silence, their pride broken, their empires reduced to ashes. And then he arrived, the human commander who had led the final campaigns. He walked slowly, calmly, with no fear, as if the hall belonged to him now. In truth, it did. He stood before them and looked around the chamber. For a long moment he said nothing, letting the silence press down like a weight. Then his voice carried through the hall, steady and sharp. "The galaxy made one mistake. You believed we came in peace." His words echoed like a blade cutting through the air. No one spoke. No one dared. They all remembered the day humanity first appeared, with smiling faces and promises of friendship. They remembered how easily they had trusted. And they remembered how quickly those promises had turned into chains. The commander continued, his eyes cold but calm. "Peace was never our gift. Peace was your illusion. You chose to see what you wanted, not what we were. We offered smiles, and you saw kindness. We carried weapons, and you told yourselves they were only for defense. We asked for land, and you gave us worlds. And with every gift, you built the bridge for our conquest." His words cut deeper than weapons. The alien leaders shifted uncomfortably, but none could deny the truth. Across the galaxy, billions of citizens watched through forced broadcasts. Human fleets transmitted the speech to every screen, every station, every city. The lesson was not just for the broken leaders in the chamber. It was for all who lived under human rule. Children, soldiers, and civilians alike listened as the truth was laid bare. Humanity had not come to share. Humanity had come to take. The commander raised his hand, and a hologram appeared above the council floor. It showed the galaxy, sector by sector, now under human control. The map glowed red with humanity's reach, and the red spread far and wide. This is the galaxy today, he said. Half of it kneels, the rest burns. Those who obey live. Those who resist die. This is the natural order. This is the lesson you must never forget. His tone was not angry, not cruel. It was calm, almost like a teacher explaining a simple truth. And that calmness made it even more terrifying. The alien leaders wanted to protest, to shout, to curse him. But they were broken. They had no armies left, no fleets, no hope. One dared to speak, his voice shaking. You tricked us. You deceived us with false promises. The human commander turned his gaze on him, and his reply was as sharp as steel. No. We showed you what you wanted to see. The mistake was yours. You were warned by your own fear, but you silenced it. You saw the weapons and told yourselves they were harmless. You saw the fortresses and called them colonies. We did not lie. You chose to believe a lie because it was easier than facing the truth. Those words sank deep into the hearts of all who listened. The galaxy had believed in peace because it was comfortable, because it was safe. But that belief had been their undoing. Now they understood that humanity's greatest weapon was not their warships, not their drones, not their armies. It was their ability to appear harmless until it was too late. The commander looked at the leaders one last time. Remember this lesson. There will be no second chance. The galaxy belongs to humanity now. Your worlds are ours, your skies are ours, your future is ours. And when we move beyond this galaxy, others will welcome us too. They will believe in peace, just as you did. And they will fall, just as you have fallen. His words ended like a final hammer strike. When he left the hall, the alien leaders remained in silence. None dared to speak. None dared to look at each other. They had lost everything. And in the silence of that chamber, the truth became clear. Humanity had not just conquered their worlds. Humanity had conquered their trust, their hope, their very belief in peace. That was the true victory. Across the stars, under human banners, the galaxy bowed. Entire civilizations now lived under the rule of Earth. Resistance cells still hid in shadows, but even they whispered the same words. The galaxy's mistake was believing humanity came in peace. And now that mistake could never be undone.